right, boys, these are 3 things I did to increase my bench press from 225 to 295. And I did that within 1 year without steroids. I know it sounds crazy, sounds unrealistic. The first thing that I started doing that made a big impact in my bench press was the way that I was breathing in before my rep. So before, when I'd get on the bench, I didn't really think about breathing in or anything like that, or breathing out. I was just more focused on my form. So I'd get on the bench and then I didn't think anything about how my breath might affect my bench. So now what I do, something that I noticed is that I could lift a lot more if I would inhale deeply and push through my core. So when you're getting on the bench, you lay down on the bench, align your back, obviously expand your chest out, push your shoulders back, and take a deep breath in, but not only from your chest, but do it from your core. Expand your stomach. Take the biggest breath that you can and focus on expanding your stomach and then pushing on your core. If you're flexing your core, pushing it out. So you go, and then you take your first rep or multiple reps if you want to do it within that breath. So that allowed me to use my core to stabilize myself and to actually do more weight. So I noticed that power lifters do that specifically. They'll take a big deep breath before their rep, and I didn't really understand why. But when I started to implement that, I instantly saw increase on my bench. Easy 20 pounds. Just from that, I could bench 225 to 245 from learning how to properly engage my core and to stabilize myself using that technique of actually breathing in and engaging my core. I feel pretty confident saying that that can increase your bench about 20 pounds, give or take, if you're implementing that correctly and if you weren't already before. The second thing is static holds. The second thing that really helped my max bench press was staying in the lower rep range consistently. So I started hitting bench every day, and I just wouldn't hit that much bench. So I started doing full body. I was going from a split, and I actually started doing full body to hit every muscle group every day, but I would focus more on the maximal strength. So I wouldn't do as much volume like reps or sets. I would do fewer sets and fewer reps. So literally I would stay in the 4 to 6 rep range, and I would essentially max out every day I would go in the gym. Obviously have a spotter, make sure that you have someone there to, make sure you don't fail, because I've had that where I thought I got the weight. I was like, I put 275 on the bench, and I haven't done it in a while because I didn't go to the gym for a few weeks. But I usually did 275, no problem. And then one day I went without a spotter on my first day back in the gym, and I lifted up to 275. For sure in my head, I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna fucking get this shit up. I dropped it on my chest, and I couldn't get that back up. And I thought I could, and I was struggling, and I was trying, and then I started passing out. And so I had to tip it over. Nobody saw until it was too late. So I tipped over the bench. It fell on, all the weight fell off one side, then the other, and I got up like shaking and out of it. I didn't even know what happened. So that was pretty scary. It was pretty crazy. I couldn't even believe what happened. I was literally out of it for 5 seconds straight. I didn't even know what happened. I was just trying to get up. So make sure you got a spot when you're doing this, because it's not safe to max out without a spotter. But so every day that I'd go into the gym, I would focus on increasing my maximal strength by focusing on the 4 to 6 rep range. So going up with obviously a warm up, then going up to your work weight, and then pushing up to your 1 rep max or 2 rep max, whatever you feel comfortable doing. with your spotter there. And if you start focusing on your maximal strength, just doing what is tough for you to do 2, 3, 4 reps with, instead of trying to hit 10 reps every time, you're gonna get stronger because you're focused on your maximal strength. If you keep hitting your max every day, you're gonna get stronger. So that's another thing that really increased my bench was before, and keep in mind, this is coming from somebody that always hit volume. I always was doing at least 10 or 8 to 10 reps per set, sometimes more. So I was doing a lot of volume most of my life. I never really focused on my max because I didn't really care about it. I didn't really think that it was actually going to contribute to my muscle gain. I just thought it was more about, like, oh, maybe egotistical, like I want to have a strong bench or a strong max, but it didn't really matter to me. So I never really focused on low rep range. I thought I don't feel my muscles engaging as much if I'm doing only 4 reps or 2, 3 reps. I feel my muscle get full. I feel like a really good pump whenever I would stay closer to the 10 to 12 rep range, which is completely true. Whenever I only hit 4 to 6 reps, don't get as sore. I still get sore, but it's like a different type of sore. I feel it more in the tendon. I feel it more like in a specific part of the muscle rather than the entire. I'm not hitting as much of the pec maybe, or the entire muscle isn't getting the same type of pump or soreness as if you were to do more isolation volume workouts. That's going to be the second thing. So first, work on your core and the way that you take a deep breath in before you hit your set is going to affect how you stabilize and integrate your core into the press movement. And you'll be able to get a lot more power out of it if you know how to use your core, which is pretty crazy. And then the second thing is actually just focusing on maximal strength by hitting the lower rep range, obviously in the getting closer to your absolute max. And then the third thing is static holds. So if you're hitting, let's say, bench press, and my max right now is 295. I put 315 on the bench if that's what my goal is, and if I can hold that in a static hold. So I don't go down at all. I don't rep it. I don't try to rep it. I don't actually go down with it. I just take it off the rack and I just hold it there in the top bench position as if I was going to hit it, but I just hold it there to give my muscles and my tendons and my skeletal, I guess, muscles, my frame, an idea of what it feels like to have the 315 on my chest. And I'll practice with essentially just having that up. And that's something that has helped me increase my bench. So I plateaued at 275 after jumping from 225. I jumped to 275 within probably 6 months, if that. And then I hit 275, and 275 was my absolute max. And then if I put 285 on there, I would fail. If I put 295 on there, I would fail. And I was able to get 275 up pretty easy. I wasn't struggling a lot, but that was like my absolute max. So I put another pound on there. I couldn't get it up. So something that I did was that I put 295 on the bar and I did a static hold with it. And I did that a few times of where I just hold it for like 10 seconds and then I'll come down as a rep and then I'll have my spotter help me get it up. So I'm not actually doing a rep by myself. And this is something that also increased my bench and got me up to the 295 because it's just getting your body adapted to the heavier weight. And just by holding it, I was able to see a difference in my strength. And sometimes it's not only just that your muscle can't do it, but it's like the tendon and maybe the structure of your body in general isn't used to holding your whole frame as a body is working together, and it's not used to holding that much weight. And so if you get used to the heavier weight, it builds like micro fractures in the bones, in the tendons, and not only just in the muscle, to help it stabilize and hold that amount of weight so you can actually press it. So those are 3 things that I noticed on how I was able to get my bench up from 225 to 295, which is 70 pounds in 1 year without steroids, without anything crazy. But keep in mind that obviously your training style is going to affect this. So I never really trained like this, which I would say it's more a little bit more like a power lifter in the sense of focusing on the maximal strength rather than hypertrophy and volume or other types of training. So if you're just specifically trying to increase your bench press max, if you're not already doing these 3 things, it can make a big difference. In just a few weeks, you can see a big difference in your bench, in your dumbbell press, overhead barbell press, in your squat. You can pretty much apply it to anything. You're mostly going to see the biggest difference in the compound movements. So I would try these out. This is a video of me hitting 285, and I hit it without struggling too hard. A year ago, I was barely hitting 225.